This week, the pickleball world descends deep in the heart of Texas, just outside Big D in Rockwall, Texas. The Texas Open is the next stop on the PPA Tour, and the best of the best have arrived to decide 3 gold medal matches on this championship Sunday, and the coverage comes your way right now. What a week it has been here in Rockwall, Texas, as the sport of pickleball continues to grow throughout the nation and deep in the heart of the Lone Star State. That is no different. Fantastic facility here today that we will showcase for you. And welcome to Rockwall, Texas, everybody. Dave Benz, happy to be along with you. Morgan Evans is here. Hannah Johns will be along in a little bit. And yesterday, some weather interrupted play a little bit. Thankfully, the skies look clear today here, Morgan. Should be a really exciting day, and just yet another sign that the PPA as a whole continues to grow by leaps and bounds.
Totally true. The PPA championships, they are bringing the best of pickleball for professional players, amateurs around the country. Up to 20,000 players have engaged in it. Almost $1.5 million in prize pool, tournaments all the way around North America. It's an exciting time to be alive in the world of pickleball.
And it's expected next year that prize money pool will be north of $2 million. It continues to grow as more and more sponsors come on board. And Morgan, we are starting to get to the end of this year's schedule, and there's not going to be a lot of downtime, by the way. When it wraps up, they start next year's season in January.
Very quickly. For the rest of the season, we do have the Las Vegas Championships coming up shortly, followed by the Masters Championships in Palm Springs, California. Then they'll have the Nationals, a little bit of time for Christmas, and they're right back at it.
And I don't think anybody's going to complain, because these people, what do they like to do in their spare time?
They play pickleball.
They play pickleball just like you at home. Before we talk more about today's coverage, we want to talk about what we've seen all season long here on the PPA Tour. It's been a season that literally has had everything, and for more on that, let's welcome in Hannah Johns.
Thanks, Dane. As we near the end of this year, we take a look back at some of the highs and the lows that we experienced throughout this year. We've been from one side of the U.S. to the other. We've experienced rain delays, power outages, player injuries, even a snowstorm in St. George. Take a look.
Red Rock's been a challenge, but it's been a blast to have the whole team work together. We've obviously had some conditions with snow and rain that we haven't had to deal with.
What an exchange!
Spring is finally here, and so is the new era of pickleball. Newport Beach is the battleground.
All right, thank you so much, Hannah. We'll step away for a moment here in Texas. Coverage of the Texas Open is brought to you by the PPA. Play where the pros play. By Guaranteed Rate, official mortgage partner of the PPA. By Takea, hydration is an all-day game. By Jigsaw, it's fun to feel good. By Duper, make every match count. And by Championship Court, your professional pickleball network. And back here in Rockwall, Texas, the Oasis Pickleball and Tennis Club just outside of Dallas, and we have reached the women's doubles finals. Simone Jardim and Lucy Kovalova, the #1 ranked team in the world, taking on Lee Waters and Anna Lee Waters. And when you talk about Simone Jardim, guys, you're talking about the most decorated pickleball player on the women's side in the history of the sport.
Yeah, we certainly are lucky here. We have royalty in front of us. The crown queen of the game and the up-and-coming phenom Anna Lee Waters, ready to do battle against her alongside her mother, Lee Waters.
And Irina, I know you know Lucy Kovalova quite well, and you know her game, and you know how impressive has her ascension been?
Oh, absolutely. I think today Lucy's going to try to make a statement and tell the Waters not today, and they just need to be ready for her backhand. That's absolutely on fire. And another weapon that Lucy has is her forehand drive on the third shot through the middle, knifing the opposition.
And Morgan, you mentioned the mother-daughter combo, Anna Lee Waters and Lee Waters, and there's a look at Anna Lee, still just 14 years old, and she has now won a couple of titles on the PPA Tour, won her first title in Newport Beach in the singles match that we talked about during the men's doubles championship, and she added to her collection in the most recent PPA event, the Orlando Cup, because her and her mother, Lee Waters, they won in the gold medal match against Lucy Kovalova and Simone Jardim, and so they're looking to make it 2 PPA tournaments in a row that they have been able to beat the world's #1 ranked team.
Yeah, they have gone from underdog to favorite in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, and Anna Lee Waters recently going as a #2 women's pick in the Major League Pickleball draft. Her and Lee Waters, who was also drafted, they upset Catherine Parento and Jessie Irvin in semifinals. Catherine Parento was the #1 draft picked by the team ATX Pickleballers, who, interesting fact, Brene Brown is one of the co-owners of that team. So just tough draw, and all of these players certainly deserve to be here in the final.
So Kovalova and Jardim begin with the serve. When you play doubles, the very first serve, it's 0-0-2, not 0-0-1, and now it's 1-0-2. You, in essence, start with a second server when you begin the game. Guys, this is the 5th meeting on the PPA Tour consecutively, 5 straight PPA Tour events in which Lucy Kovalova and Simone Jardim have faced off against the Waters mother-daughter combo. They met the Atlanta Open Finals, and that went in favor of Kovalova and Jardim, 11-6, 9-11, 11-3, 6-11, 11-6. Then they met again in the Orange County Cup Finals. Simone and Lucy won that one 11-1, 10-12, 11-3, 11-6. And then they met in the quarterfinals of the Takea Showcase. Simone and Lucy won that one in straight games, 11-9, 11-8. But last time out, they met. The Waters finally broke through in Orlando. They won it 12-10, 9-11, 11-8, 11-7.
And that's why the Duper odds for this match are much closer than in the previous final. We have Simone and Lucy at 59% and the Waters at 41%.
And the Waters have drawn even here, 1-1 to start this best 3 games out of 5.
I want to ask our analyst here, Morgan Evans, if he could summarize maybe 3 strategy tips that either one of the teams would try to use in this match.
Yeah, it's a great question. We'll just watch this point play out here, see if one of them is on display.
Second serve. I think the side of Jardim and Kovalova are going to try to keep the young wrecking ball, Annalie Waters, at bay, but they know they're going to have to get the ball behind her just enough, with third shots similar to that, to force her to stay on her side of the court just enough to expose Lee Waters.
Annalie capable of covering so much ground, and before this match is over, we will see her signature two-hand backhand, and she puts it on display right there. Simone keeping Lee Waters back, and that lob is long.
Should also be said that Annalie Waters played today and successfully took the crown in the women's pro singles over Leah Jansen, so she's already had a fair amount of exercise. She's got her calories in.
She's warmed up.
At 14 years old, I'm sure she's got no problem with any issues of being a little bit tired. Lucy into the net. That'll move to the second server. 1-1-2. 1-1-2 early on here from Rockwall, Texas.
Kovalova already on fire with that two-handed backhand. She is locked and loaded, anticipating these attacks well, moving to her right and making them pay.
And that is long. Kovalova and Jardim asking lead official Bob Swisshelm if he had a look at it. And are they going to challenge? They do have the option of a challenge, and I believe they are.
Yeah, I mean,
so we've got our first challenge of this match.
They're looking to keep the momentum going and are prepared to use the challenge system. Let's have a look at that.
It looked to me like that might have been it.
Very close. Let's see if we can get a better angle here. Just screened by Lee Waters. Couldn't see that one.
Angela Lumen is in the truck.
Let's slow that down.
That looks into me, guys. But again, not our call.
Oh, maybe.
That angle looks pretty definitive.
Remember, if it's 99% out, it's 100% in.
I wouldn't even say that's. I think that's 99% in.
Yeah, I'd give it to them, but.
But a couple of lobs already on display.
Yeah, 4 or 5. I think they're abusing it.
So Morgan talked a little bit about the strategy coming from Kovalova and Simone. What do you think the Waters are going to try to do in this match?
Well, they're looking to dictate the style of play, and so often, you know, the team that really decides how the match is played, they want to turn this into, I use it often, blunt force trauma. How often can they initiate the attacks, trusting that each other will get into positions to handle the counter punches. It's something they do better than almost anyone else. It reminds me a lot of the Newmans. When the attack starts, so often the sibling, in this case the mother or daughter, they find a way to get into the position earlier than anyone else. They are sharing one mind out there on the court. I think they typically are very comfortable standing back off the line, sometimes up to 2 feet, allowing that ball to get to apex and launching attacks, using their speed and agility and endurance to open up the court, open up the angles, making sure that their opponents, they have to move with them. You know, every time you move, your opponents are having to go with you, otherwise they expose themselves to either down the line or down the middle attacks, something that the Waters team are just lethal at.
Guys, I'm a little surprised this took as long as it did, but now Bob Swisshelm is going over to talk to Diane Anderson before making an official ruling. And the video looked pretty clear from what we saw.
After review, the ball was called in, so it's overturned.
So it is indeed a successful video challenge by Lucy and Simone, and we're not surprised that's the second successful challenge we've seen here today.
3-1-2, thank you. Yes,
And you know, clearly the two of you have played way more pickleball than I have. I just kind of get out there and mess around. But even in the limited time that I've played, there are times it's kind of a gentleman's type sport or a gentlewoman's type sport where you're calling it, and you're not necessarily calling it because you're trying to gain an advantage. You legitimately sometimes don't even have a great angle yourself, and you may have thought it was out.
Yeah, as a general rule, people call it how they see it. You know, there's no real animosity between these four players.
1-3-1.
But out of that lengthy timeout, it does get the serve back over to the Waters. And a 1-3 hole. Great defense by the Waters, but finally Simone able to put it where Annalie can't catch up with it.
Second serve.
Yeah, this was a fantastic point. In the beginning, you saw a couple of classic misdirection attacks from Simone.
1-3-2.
That's definitely one of her signature weapons. Well defended by Lee Waters, but at the end, Simone and Lucy prevailed.
Lee lets that one go to move it to 2-3. And Morgan, you talked about the rule change when we were seeing the men's doubles. You can't spin the serve off of the paddle. It was the serve that Annalie is implementing here. Would that still be legal next year?
Next year, it looks like that, as well as any use of the paddle, will be made illegal.
Point.
Also, interesting fact is in amateur pickleball, players are also allowed to bounce the ball prior to the serve, but on the PPA tour at the professional level, you have to serve out of the air.
There you go.
And as a bona fide amateur player, I still have never understood why anybody would feel the need to be able to bounce it to be able to hit the serve. But many do. Simone puts that one away.
It's largely just to kind of make the gateway even easier to enjoy the game. I've seen a number of players who are coached just finding it a little easier to control their serve when it just feels like a forehand they're hitting as opposed to something more elaborate.
Second serve.
Yes, and we absolutely welcome that rule addition, because the great thing about pickleball is the learning curve is extremely short. You don't have to have a sports or racket sports background. You can just get out on the court and you'll be playing in 30 minutes.
Well, and the other great thing about it is it's the great equalizer, right, guys? I mean, you can have elite athletes taking on, you know, a lot of players that enjoy the sport are seniors, and it doesn't matter. If you know what you're doing and you're executing, it nullifies a lot of the athletic advantage.
Certainly.
Well played shot there by Simone.
Yeah, the team of Kovalova and Jardim are really utilizing the lob a lot, and they're doing it so well that it is forcing the Waters team to have to spend a lot more time in transition, swimming around the baseline just to get themselves back.
Lucy unable to get that over the net, so Waters at 3-5 getting the serve back.
Point.
That ball there just cramping up Lucy Kovalova. Tricky one for her to deal with. So they bridge the gap one more time, 4-5-1.
Second serve.
I think on that particular occasion, Lee Waters remembered the shot she just hit and how successful that was, and dipped to that well again.
4. Sorry. 4, 5,
I mentioned
2.
it. These teams have met 4 previous times in a row on the PPA Tour, and 3 of those 4 were in a championship match, so the best 3 out of 5 format was in play. None of those matches were decided in 3 games. So regardless of who wins game 1 here, I think we're going to be here for a little while here today.
Oh yeah, settle in, folks.
5, 4, 2.
Grab your popcorn.
Ooh, that was the great drive by Lucy Kovalova. Simone recognizing it and looking for a post, just mishit it slightly wide. But that's definitely the play that's going to allow them to win a few quick points here and there. And we're going to see them go back to it over and over again.
Annalise speeds things up. Lucy was ready for it, and now they slow it back down. Oh, well-placed shot there by Lee Waters.
Yeah, that was exceptional at full stretch. She got in there. Had to go almost full flamingo on this last one. Yep, there it is. Getting that back leg up to work well as a counterbalance, just to kind of help with the dexterity at full stretch.
Point. TV timeout, ladies.
Point there as that goes long. Stay with us from Texas. Back here in Texas, Rockwall, Texas to be exact, just outside of Dallas.
Yeah, this matchup has really started to define women's professional pickleball. Such an evenly matched team. The Waters to Jardim and Kovalova.
Simone into the net, and that'll open it up to 7-5. And guys, you wonder if we won't look back a couple of years from now and kind of look at this being the season in some ways that Simone kind of passed the torch to Anna Lee as the dominant player on the women's side. As you mentioned, Morgan, she already won the singles title earlier here today, trying to win the doubles title as well. And at 14 years old, the sky is the limit for her. And by no means am I saying that Simone doesn't have many more gold medals in front of her, because she certainly does. But this may be the transition year when we look back on the history of the sport.
Yeah, we all know one thing to be true, and that is that Father Time is undefeated.
Unless you're Tom Brady.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, there are actually a number of teams that have been challenging both of these teams so far this year on the PPA Tour and other tournaments, and you can look out kind of for Catherine Parento and Jessie Urban, Leah Jensen, and myself. Lauren Stratman and Andrea Koop pulled a pretty big upset to get bronze yesterday, so I would say female field maybe not as deep as the gentlemen, but the depth is very, very strong, and the hunger is real. So
great job by Anna Lee to track that one down out of the corner, but then hits it long.
Yeah, moving in, hoping for a slightly higher ball to work with. She may have actually hit an out ball there. Jardim and Kovalova had to dispatch of the Kawamoto twins, and it was a tough battle, 11-6, 6-11, 11-4, and that was in the quarterfinals.
That is wide, so we'll move to 5-9-2.
5-9-2.
That is also wide, so side out will get the serve back over to the Waters, 2 points away here from taking game one.
Yeah, Lucy went a little bit from her usual target on that drive, and maybe because the score is, they're slightly behind, she probably needs to keep it to the middle, stay high percentage.
There's the young lady, the crown princess of pickleball, getting in there with that big two-handed backhand.
That'll take us to game point at 10-5. There it is. Game point goes to the mother-daughter combo of Lee Waters and Anna Lee Waters, 11-5. Our coverage continues after this timeout. Well, there's a look at the Championship Franklin Cup here in Texas, Texas Open. And we're going to game 5. Dave Pence, Morgan Evans, Irina Tereshchenko. And I don't think anybody's surprised we're going to 5 games here. Irina, you kind of foreshadowed this, that in Newport, I think it was Newport Beach, or maybe it was in San Clemente, that Anna Lee Waters had a 2-0 lead in the gold medal singles match and ended up losing 3 consecutive games. And the Waters able to get the serve back here to open up game number 5. But it's so it would be unfortunate history for Anna Lee if it was to repeat itself here today.
Well, she's probably not thinking about it right now. That's probably the last thing on her mind. And, you know, history is made, and then it can be changed in the future.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That was...
Now we know.
I don't think
that was profound. It can't be changed into the past, unfortunately.
That's what I hear.
If you figure out how to do that, let me know. Great little drop shot there by Simone, but Lee Waters was able to catch up to it. Simone throwing everything she's got at the Waters right now. They're still standing on this point. Look at the reaction.
That is huge. These teams have had some astonishing points over the last few years, but not many better than that one.
I think another thing for the viewers kind of worth exploring is the body language of these players, and especially if we have some younger athletes in the audience. Doesn't matter what sport they come from. As a matter of fact, if you're a junior pickleball player, you can also play on the PPA tour. But we noticed when Simone and Lucy were down, you couldn't really tell from their body language what the score was. And similar, if you look at the Waters right now, you can't really tell that they just lost 2 games in a row.
Simone able to force it to the second server. And serve now going back over to Kovalova and Jardim. We will get a side switch at 6 points in this game since it is the final game of the match. So if there is any advantage to having the wind blowing at you. It will favor the Waters to close out this game. Wide, so we're not at a 1.
Yeah, Annalie just forced to do so much there. And that last one, she certainly wasn't forced to do it. She elected to come all the way over to take a ball away from Mother Waters.
I don't know about you two, but I'd be surprised if this game doesn't finish at 15-13.
Well, we'll see shortly.
Do you know the current record in pickleball? I heard somebody won 17-15 the other day, but has anybody ever gone over 20 to win the points? In the rules, you have to win by 2, so hypothetically, it's infinite?
Yeah, there's been some 21-19s, I think even higher, but I'm trying to remember who it was.
But not quite that famous Wimbledon match between Nicholas Mahut
and Isner. Yeah, no, that was 4 days. I think it was 4 days, 69 hours.
That was quite a match.
Yeah. I'm not sure we'll see that in pickleball, but we could.
Kovalova and Jardim now trying to build an advantage.
Yeah, they're really proving their defensive mettle. Their ability to handle the first 2 games, come back with a vengeance in game 3, and again take game 4.
And building the lead even further here in game 5, now at 4-1. Making 5-1.
And the drive is back. Lucy's feeling confident.
And the timeout is going to be taken as Waters and Waters trying to see if they can change the momentum in a 5-1 hole. This hydration break brought to you by Jigsaw Health. So look at some of the sights and sounds from across this season on the PPA Tour. It's been such a memorable year at all the stops. We've enjoyed bringing you the coverage here on Fox Sports, also on Championship Court. This is our second of 3 matches from Texas here today. We'll have the men's singles final following the conclusion of this one. And the timeout does its job. It gets the serve back over to the Waters in a 1-5 hole.
1-5-1.
And make it 2-5.
2-5-1.
Irina, are you surprised that they've got Lee on the left so often now?
No, because Anna Lee's best shot is her backhand, so that effectively puts her backhand in the middle. And this point that we just saw right here, Lee created an opportunity for Anna Lee. And again, if she shifts all the way to the left and uses her forehand roll inside out to the backhand of the left side player, she kind of puts Anna Lee in a position to take over the middle.
Guys, we don't see a wasted serve that often at this level, but that's what we saw there, so they move to the second server. Oh, Anna Lee painting the line, and it's tightened up now at 4-5.
Yeah, that was beautifully set up by an initial attack that had some disguise to it from Lee Waters. But again, having to be inch perfect to get that ball past Jardim.
speeds it up and then finishes it off.
Yeah, she held that for just long enough to convince her opponents that she's likely just going to be dinking, and then really just flipped it into the body, able to clean up the counterpunch with serious efficiency.
Yes, and this was also a great example that most attacks in pickleball, you don't win the point on that initial shot because the court is so small. It's usually a 1-2 punch combo. Right here was a perfect example again.
And we've gotten to the 11-point total, so we're going to have the 11-point timeout. The Waters are also going to have a side switch as they've reached 6. It's 6-5 here in Texas. Five straight points by the Waters, and that was interesting because you think Lucy and Simone might have used the timeout had there not been a timeout, and there was going to be a timeout to switch sides, and there was also the timeout for the 11 points. They all came together, and then how about that? Lucy, the English, it hits the net and lands where nobody can get it, so that was fortuitous for them. Kovalova and Jardim get the serve back, trailing 5-6. First team to 11. Also with a with a 2-point lead after 11. He's going to win the title.
Another thing that Anna Lee is doing, she's kind of inviting Simone to go down the line with that flick.
Yeah, she's baiting her, leaving a lot of space to her wing.
Lee keeping Lucy back on the baseline. Now she's up to the kitchen. That time the winds might have hurt Anna Lee, as it
they
was
were
tough to return.
On the back foot and couldn't quite get the kind of penetration they needed to stay on top and in control of the rally.
Ties it up at 6, 6-6-2. Back in front go Kovalova and Jardim.
They are fired up. They're looking to match and surpass the energy from Team Waters. And they've got a 7-6 lead.
Make it 8-6. They're 3 points away.
And they look like they're having fun out there. You know, a happy player is a dangerous player.
Well, it is fun to feel good.
That's what I keep hearing. Okay, I'm going to try it out at some point.
Great choice by Lucy there to hit that overhead straight down the middle. High percentage target. If something goes wrong, the ball will still probably land in the court and also forces the opposing team to communicate.
Do have a match point situation. Lucy and Simone down 2-0.
Clutch play by Simone. What a redirect there, and another overhead through the middle to seal the deal.
The queen is not dead, folks.
Looking to seal the deal and weld it shut on this exchange. instead, the serve's going to go back over to Team Waters. Still breathing here at 6-10.
Looks like she's okay.
Six, 10, 1.
And make it 7-10.
Great pressure. Yeah, a lot of players out there might be conservative and look to just get up there and wait for your opportunities, but these two are on a mission. And that ball stays in, much to the dismay of the Waters duo.
7, 10, 2.
7-10-2. Simone and Lucy trying to get the serve back to close it out. That's wide, and they will have the serve.
That is astonishing play from Jardim. That's why she is who she is, able to dig out.
Look at the smile on her face. She knows
Almost-
how hard that was.
Almost tears of joy.
Match point. And not yet. Gonna move to the second server.
10, 7, 2.
And the serve's gonna go back over to the Waters.
They have a reprieve. The window's still open.
What a match.
7-10. It's coming down to the wire.
What a match.
Yes.
9 minutes shy of 2 hours here in Texas. Simone puts that one away.
So that was a sick trick. That was good.
Surprised it took you this long to get sick tricks into the conversation, Irina.
This was the most impressive one.
Lee lets it go. So move it to 8-10. Or did they say that landed in? I thought it was long. They called it in. So the serve going back over now to Kovalova and Jardim on match point.
Championship point.
Absolutely.
To stick to their guns under this kind of pressure, that's impressive.
Absolutely, but still they stay in high percentage. You know, they chose the right ball. That dink was fairly high. Good playing from everybody.
And there it is. From an 0-2 hole to a 3-2 gold. What a comeback for Simone Jardim and Lucy Kovalova.
A warm embrace for the long-time partnership. This one really meant a lot to them. They know how much momentum the Waters team have on their side. Incredible play from all four players, but it's Simone Jardim and Lucy Kovalova coming away with a win.
No surprise it went the distance. We will hear from the victors after this timeout. from an 0-2 hole to a 3-2 gold. What a comeback.
We're so excited to be back here live at the Texas Open with these two champions, Lucy Kovalova and Simone Jardim. Ladies, that was incredible. I think that everyone in the crowd thought the match was basically over after games 1 and 2 went to Team Waters. How on earth did you turn this match around?
You know, we were down 2 games, and then I think 8-1 or 8-2 in the 3rd game. And in that point, we just like, okay, let's chip away, try to get a few points here, a few points there, and I think we got a like 4 or 5 points run. So then when it's like 8-6, 8-7, you're back in the game, and it was like, okay, let's go. We have nothing to lose at that point, and we fought hard, we never give up, and we won.
And looking back just a few weeks ago at the Orlando Cup, Team Waters did come away with the victory. Was any part of this match about getting revenge for that loss?
Not really. When it comes down to it, we play each other so much that we take, I mean, I know for me, I have to take day to day. I never know tomorrow. So I just wanted to come out and have fun, and that was what she promised me. And she, even though we were playing not our best, and they were playing much better than us, for sure, more aggressive. But at one point, we literally look at each other and we're like, forget it. If we're gonna lose this, we're gonna lose on our own paddle, on our own style, and we're gonna, you know, whatever, see what happens. And good things come, you know, when you play not to lose. And I think that that's what has happened a little bit. So this is proves more than anything that we are more than capable of doing. So that's good.
Thanks, Simone.
All right, thank you so much, Hannah. Well, that's going to do it for a fun day here in Rockwall, Texas. For Morgan Evans, Irina Tereshchenko, Hannah Johns, Ray Koliakovo, Grant Garcia, and our championship court and Fox Sports crew, I'm Dave Bent saying so long. Thanks for watching the PPA Tour.